When Keanu Reeves came back to the cafe he had started in secret, he hoped people would be kind. He thought they would smile and be happy. But what he found was very different. People were being unkind. Some were even planning something bad. This cafe was supposed to be a good place. A place filled with kindness and care. A safe place for everyone. This is the story of how one quiet and brave moment changed everything. Before we begin, tell us, where in the world are you watching from? Keanu pulled his old baseball hat low so no one could see his face. He pushed open the door to the Haven Book Cafe. A little bell above the door made a ding sound. But no one turned to look. That was perfect. Keanu didn't want anyone to know who he was. The smell inside the cafe made Keanu stop for a second. He smelled fresh coffee, old books, and wood polish. It was a smell that made him feel happy and sad at the same time. It reminded him of the past. It had been many years since Keanu had been in this cafe. This was the very first Haven Cafe. He had paid for it with his own money, but no one knew that. It had always been a secret. Keanu didn't want fame. He didn't want people to say thank you. He just wanted to build a place where everyone could feel safe, loved, and welcome. No matter where you came from. No matter your skin color. No matter how rich or poor you were. Keanu's dream was to build a happy little spot in the world, just for people to feel okay. But now, something was wrong. Friends had told Keanu that workers were quitting a lot. Some people sent emails saying the cafe didn't feel kind anymore. Even though people still came in to drink coffee and read books, the cafe was losing money. That didn't make sense. Haven was not just for customers. It was supposed to care for its workers too. Keanu looked around carefully. He has played many roles in movies. He was good at looking and listening without being seen. At first, everything looked the same. There were soft, comfy couches. Big windows with sunlight. Bookshelves filled with used books. A big chalkboard with the coffee menu written in white letters. Behind the counter, young people made drinks and write names on paper cups. But something felt cold. The warm, cozy feeling was missing. The workers were smiling, but their eyes didn't match their smiles. They seemed tired. They moved fast, but not in a happy way. Customers sat quietly, not talking much. Something was definitely wrong. Keanu found a small table hidden in the back corner. He wore a flannel shirt, old jeans, and had a scruffy beard. He looked just like a normal traveler who wanted coffee and a quiet place to sit. A young woman walked by with a ponytail and a name tag that said Brielle. She didn't really look at him. Her smile looked fake, like she had to wear it. Keanu ordered a black coffee. "Thanks," he said in a low, scratchy voice. Then he watched. That's when he saw the old man. He moved slowly behind the counter. His skin was brown like deep bronze. His hair was white as snow. His back was bent and his hands looked sore. But the way he worked was gentle and careful. He looked like someone who believed even small jobs were important. Keanu watched as the man, whose name was Samuel, picked up dirty dishes, smiled at a little boy who was dropping books, and gently helped him. The boy smiled back big and happy. Keanu sipped his coffee and felt his jaw tighten. This place was supposed to protect people like Samuel. But Samuel looked invisible to the others. Keanu sat quietly and watched more. The cafe got busier. A young couple came in. An old lady with yarn. Some college students have laptops. Everything looked normal, but something still didn't feel right. Samuel didn't wear an apron. Just a faded Haven shirt and rolled-up pants. But he never stopped working. He wiped windows, picked up trash, straightened books, and smiled at customers. He wasn't fast. Sometimes he winced when bending. But he kept going. Not for praise. just because he cared. But every time Samuel walked by the counter, the younger workers acted differently. Brielle rolled her eyes. She crossed her arms and leaned on the counter. Another worker named Damon had short hair and looked angry all the time. He acted like every little thing bothered him. Keanu leaned in when he heard them whisper. "Man, you'd think he'd take the hint already," Damon mumbled, pretending to clean the counter but not really trying. Brielle laughed. "This isn't a homeless shelter. He just makes the place look old and weird." Keanu kept his head low, but his eyes were sharp. They didn't get it. Samuel wasn't the problem. They were. Samuel saw a girl drop a book and walked over to help. He smiled and gave it back. The little girl hugged the book like it was a gift. That was the Haven spirit, kindness without needing a reward. But Brielle whispered again. "Look at that. Acting like he owns the place." Damon laughed. If the real owner showed up, that old man would be fired fast. Keanu's hand tightened into a fist. Because the truth was funny, he was the real owner. And he was watching everything. The day moved on. Keanu didn't leave. He sat with his cold coffee, quiet and watchful. Samuel didn't stop working. He smiled at every customer. He was gentle with every task. Then something happened. A teenage boy in a thin hoodie came up. He looked nervous. He asked for a black coffee, but when the price came up, he looked sad. He checked his pockets and only found $1 and some coins. Brielle said loudly, "Sorry. If you don't have enough, you'll have to pick something else." The boy's face turned red. He started to walk away, embarrassed. But Samuel stepped in. "I've got it, son," he said kindly. He handed Brielle the money. "Quiet. Come. No big deal." He didn't want thanks. The boy looked surprised. He gave a tiny smile and went to sit down, holding his coffee like a treasure. No one else said anything. But Brielle muttered, "Here we go again. Saint Samuel saves the day." Damon shook his head. If he's so poor he sleeps in his car, maybe he should stop buying coffee for strangers. Keanu didn't say a word. But he remembered. He had already heard that Samuel was struggling. Yet Samuel still gave. He gave money. He gave time. He gave care. All without expecting anything back. Later, an old woman came in with a tired face. She picked out a book and a cup of tea. But when she paid, she was a few coins short. She looked worried. Before she could say anything, Samuel reached into his pocket again and gave Brielle the coins. "All set," he said with a smile. The woman looked surprised. Then her face softened. Her shoulders relaxed, like someone had lifted a heavy bag off her back. To Samuel, helping people wasn't about being a hero. It wasn't charity. It was about treating people with kindness, with respect, with heart. And he did that over and over again. One cup of coffee at a time. One little smile at a time. With more love and care than most people show in a whole lifetime. Keanu leaned back in his chair. He felt very mad inside. But he wasn't mad at Samuel. Never at Samuel. He was mad at the people who looked at someone as kind as Samuel and didn't say thank you. They laughed instead. In Haven, people like Samuel should be loved. But now, some people want to get rid of him. That made Keanu feel sick. He promised himself he would find out who was doing this, and he would stop them, no matter what. It all began with small talk. Keanu sat in his usual corner, half hidden behind a pile of old books. The sounds of the cafe buzzed softly around him, like music in the background. But then he noticed something strange. Brielle and Damon were talking behind the counter. Their heads were too close together, whispering. Their voices sounded sharp, like knives. Keanu tilted his head, listening without letting them know. "We have to make it look normal," Damon said quietly, in a sneaky voice. "He already thinks something's wrong with the money drawer," Brielle said, tapping her pen. "If we do this right," she went on, "the boss will think it's Samuel's fault." Damon laughed. "The old man gives his own money to help poor kids who come in. We'll just make the numbers look a little worse." "Exactly," Brielle said with a mean smile. "When Linda checks the cash, it will seem like Samuel messed up. No big questions, no big deal." Keanu's body went cold. They weren't just making fun of Samuel, they were using his kindness to hurt him. They wanted to make him look like a thief. "And once he's gone," Damon said, glancing at Samuel, who was cleaning dishes in the back, "my cousin can take his place. He's young, fast, and has the perfect look for our new cafe image." Brielle snorted. "No more acting like we're a place for poor people." Keanu held the table tight to stay calm. Haven was supposed to be for everyone, any color, any shape, any age. And there were two people trying to throw all of that away. He watched Samuel walk past, still working hard, not knowing what was going on behind him. The trap was already starting. Brielle and Damon would mess up money on purpose, but only when Samuel worked, so it would look like he was stealing. Linda, their boss, was already worried about the money going missing. One more mistake and she would blame Samuel. And Samuel, kind and quiet, wouldn't know how to fight back. They were hoping he'd just leave without a word. But Brielle and Damon made a big mistake. They thought no one saw them. They thought kindness was weak. They didn't know that the man sitting quietly in the corner wasn't just any customer. He was the founder of Haven. And Keanu had made up his mind. Tomorrow he will be ready. They were setting a trap, but not for Samuel. For them. The next day, Haven Book Café felt normal. Some students typed on laptops. A mom tried to keep her toddler happy with a muffin. Dishes clinked in the back. Keanu sat in his usual spot near the books. He had a book open, but he wasn't reading. He was watching. Watching Samuel, who moved slowly around the cafe, still cleaning, still working kindly like always. Keanu had just started drinking his coffee when the door opened. A woman walked in with two small kids. Keanu knew her. Her name was Marisol. He had secretly helped her the night before. She wore old jeans and a thin jacket. Her kids held her hands tightly. Marisol walked up to the counter and counted some wrinkled bills and coins. She ordered 2 hot chocolates for her kids and 1 coffee for herself. She bit her lip, worried. Brielle tapped on the register and smiled in a fake way. "You're short again," she said loudly so everyone could hear. Marisol's face turned red. She opened her wallet again, hoping to find more money. "Maybe I can skip the coffee," she said softly, sounding embarrassed. But before Brielle could say anything else, Samuel stepped up. "I've got it," he said kindly. He pulled out a few folded bills from his apron and put them on the counter. Marisol tried to say no, but Samuel smiled and said, "We all need help sometimes. Just help someone else when you can." Marisol's eyes filled with happy tears as she took the drinks and walked to a table with her kids. Keanu watched, his heart tight. It should have been a quiet, beautiful moment. But Brielle didn't stop. "Guess St. Samuel is running his little charity again," she said loudly to Damon. Damon laughed. "Maybe we should hang a sign, 'Donations welcome, sponsored by the dishwasher.'" The room went quiet. People looked up. Marisol sat low in her seat, trying to hide. Her kids held onto her. Samuel said nothing. He just went back to pushing his cart. He walked slower. His shoulders drooped. Keanu stared at Brielle and Damon. Inside, he was burning with anger. They thought they had made Samuel feel small. But really, they just showed how small they were. "Tomorrow," Keanu told himself. Things will change. No more whispers. No more mean smiles behind the counter. Tomorrow, the truth will be loud. That night, Keanu didn't sleep. He lay on his bed, looking at the ceiling. He planned everything. It had to be perfect. No mistakes. No way for Brielle and Damon to escape. By morning, Keanu had made phone calls. He called a group of people who were experts in catching liars. They put tiny, hidden cameras all over the cafe. Not the fake kind Brielle probably thought were there. These ones were real. They could hear voices, too. By the middle of the morning, everything was ready. The cafe was busy again. Keanu sat in his usual spot. The same book was open, the same coffee getting cold. He looked like just another quiet customer. Samuel came in on time. He looked tired and stiff, but he still smiled at everyone and kept working kindly. Brielle and Damon showed up 15 minutes later. They walked in together, laughing too loud. They clocked in, sharing sneaky looks. Keanu watched closely. Then a woman came in. Not an actress. This was a real person. Her name was Noura. She was a mom from another country who didn't have much. Keanu had quietly talked to her at the community center. Her 2 daughters came with her, holding their backpacks. They looked hungry. Their jackets were too thin for the chilly air. Noura asked for 2 hot chocolates. Her voice was soft, and her English wasn't perfect. She counted her coins. But it wasn't enough. Brielle's voice rang out, cold and loud. "We're not a charity." Keanu froze. Would Samuel help again, even after being made fun of? Yes. He didn't wait. Samuel walked over, pulled a few crumpled bills from his pocket, and gently placed them on the counter. "Don't worry about it," he said with a warm smile. "You and your girls enjoy it." For a moment, the cafe felt calm. Noura smiled shyly. But Brielle and Damon saw something else, a chance. Keanu saw it too. Damon gave Brielle a little nudge. Brielle didn't press the right button on the register. She kept part of the cash. Later, Damon acted surprised. He called the boss, Linda, over. "We're short again," Damon said loudly. "Same drawer as yesterday." And guess who was near the register? Brielle didn't need to say Samuel's name. Just by looking at Linda in a certain way, she made her understand. Linda's face showed she was worried as she quickly wrote something on her clipboard. Keanu drank his coffee with a tiny smile on his face. Let them keep trying, he thought. Let them think they are winning. Because tomorrow, they will find out they didn't catch Samuel. They caught themselves. The next morning, the Haven Book Café felt different. Usually, it was quiet and calm, with coffee smells and soft talking. But today, the air felt tight, like something big was about to happen. Keanu came in early and sat in his usual spot. But today, he didn't wear his old cap or sit with his shoulders down. He sat up straight. The sunlight touched part of his face. Today, he wasn't hiding. Samuel walked in right on time. He walked a little slower than usual but still looked sure of himself. He gave Keanu a small nod, just like he gave all the customers. Then, he went to wash the dishes. Brielle and Damon came in together, laughing softly like they were sharing a secret. Linda, the manager, stood behind the counter, holding her clipboard close like a shield. The plan was almost ready. By mid-morning, Damon walked over to Linda. He spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "We found another money problem," he said, acting like he cared. "The register is short by $40, just like yesterday." And Samuel was near it again. Brielle added, sounding sad, "I even saw him take something when he thought no one was looking." The cafe got quiet. People looked up. Some looked upset. Linda looked unsure, but the pressure was strong. She slowly put her clipboard down. "Samuel," she called, her voice a bit too sharp. "Can I talk to you, please?" Samuel wiped his hands on his apron and walked over. His face showed confusion. "What's wrong?" he asked kindly. "I'm sorry," Linda said, trying to sound in charge. "But we think you've been taking money. We can't ignore it anymore." Samuel looked shocked. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Then Keanu stood up. The sound of his chair moving was loud in the quiet room. Everyone looked at him as he walked over. His boots made loud steps on the floor. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small remote. "I think," Keanu said clearly, "you should see the full story before you decide anything." Linda turned pale. Brielle stopped smiling. Damon's hands clenched. Keanu pointed the remote at the TV on the wall. With a soft click, the screen turned on. A video started to play. It was very clear, and even had sound. First, they saw Brielle cancel a real sale and hide the money in her pocket. Then, they saw Damon give the wrong change on purpose and keep the extra money. Finally, they saw Brielle and Damon whispering together, planning to blame Samuel. They even made fun of him for being old and kind. The cafe gasped. Linda took a step back. Samuel just stared at the screen, confused and sad. Keanu turned to the crowd. "For those who don't know," he said, "my name is Keanu Reeves. I helped build Haven to be a place of respect, not lies." His voice got stronger. "And today we take it back." For a moment, no one moved. The video kept playing again and again. Brielle hiding money, Damon cheating customers, their mean words about Samuel. Linda looked at Samuel. Her clipboard fell to the floor. "I'm so sorry," she said, her voice shaking. Samuel had carried heavy problems for many years. He just shook his head. His eyes were wet, but he wasn't angry. Just sad. And still somehow calm. Before anyone could say more, Keanu stepped forward. "There's nothing else to check," he said. "Brielle and Damon are fired from heaven right now. The police are already on the way." Just then, 2 police officers walked in. Everyone looked. Damon looked angry and scared. Brielle started crying. But no one felt sorry for them. Keanu looked at Samuel. His face softened. "But more importantly," Keanu said, "today is not just about stopping bad things. It's about saying thank you for the good." He pulled out an envelope and handed it to Samuel with both hands. Samuel slowly opened it and read the paper inside. Then he read it again. "I don't understand," he said, his voice shaking. "It's a promotion," Keanu said with a smile. "Starting today, you're not a dishwasher anymore. You're our new community ambassador. You are the heart of what heaven is all about." The whole cafe clapped. People stood up. Some wiped away tears. Even Linda, still feeling bad, cheered. Samuel looked around. His hands shook a little. "You won't work in the back anymore," Keanu said. "You'll welcome everyone who comes in, just like you've always done, with kindness." Samuel tried to speak, but Keanu wasn't finished. "There's something else," Keanu said. He pulled out another envelope. "This is the deed to a small house nearby. It's yours, Samuel. No rent, no bills, no tricks." Samuel covered his mouth with both hands. His eyes filled with tears. "You've given so much to this place," Keanu said softly. "Now it's time we give something back." Samuel couldn't speak. He just nodded and wiped his eyes. The cafe cheered again, louder this time. Happy and full of love. Outside, police lights flashed as Damon and Brielle were taken away. Inside, something new had started. And at the center of it was Samuel Lawson, the kind man who had stayed good, even when others were cruel. Haven had been hurt. But today, it started to get better. The next morning, soft golden sunlight shone over the Haven Book Café. The windows glowed. But inside, something even brighter was happening. People lined up outside. Not just for coffee or books, but to see Samuel Lawson. Now he stood in the middle of it all, wearing a new badge. It said, Community Ambassador. Keanu sat quietly in the corner, smiling. He didn't hide anymore. The people believed in the truth. Kids ran up to hug Samuel. College students he had once helped came to say thank you. Even strangers, who heard what happened, came just to shake his hand. Next to the register was a new wooden box. It said, the Samuel Lawson Fund, helping those who help others. Linda, still sorry but trying hard, led a meeting with the new staff. From now on, all Haven cafes would follow new rules. Good pay for all workers. Help during emergencies. No discrimination at all. Keanu stepped outside and took a deep breath. Behind him, the cafe was full, not just of people, but of love and hope. He didn't just save one man. He saved what Haven was really meant to be. Maybe, Keanu thought, this is the lesson. Kindness is quiet. Meanness is loud. But when kindness stays strong and doesn't give up, it wins, not with shouting or fighting, but with truth. Keanu turned to go back inside. Samuel saw him and smiled. They didn't need to say anything. That one look said it all. Hope was alive. And at the heart of it was Samuel Lawson. In a world that sometimes forgets what really matters, today it is remembered. Kind people may be quiet, but they are the ones who make the biggest difference. If you liked this story, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun adventures and mysteries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.